Folks, we're going to do some martial powers today. So this is our development stream. We're going to peel open our work document and we're going to start crafting the rogue Soulknife today to integrate into the martial powers system for 5th edition. So give me a second here to check my signal, boost out, and then we'll get to work here for a couple hours. Let's see. First off, are we coming through clear? A-okay, good. I've just posted that I'm live on Twitter, so if you want to catch signal when I'm live in the future, you can follow me on Twitter at Phil Kearney, or you can tag along with me with like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to see all the cool stuff that's coming down the pipe. But give me a second here to boost my signals across the Discords. I'll do my little intro spiel here, and we'll kick through this stuff. So, hey, my name is Phil Kearney. I create role-playing game supplements. I publish them online. I've been focusing my attention on Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition here for the past couple years. You can see some of the works that I've done down in the description down below, such as the Color Mana Spell Point Variant Rule Bundle that you see here on the screen. Then there's a cover that I designed for the various works that are within the document. There's like a huge sale going on at DMsGuild right now. Everything's 40% off. So they have extensive previews. Be welcome to check them out. Probably about 150 illustrations among the lot of them, as well as a ton of information about different kind of mechanics, the way that I approach things. If you like the cut of my jib, consider making a purchase. Spellpoint Warlock is almost gold. So is the core Color Mana Spellpoint Variant Rules. Those are within 60 of going gold medal, which would be a huge feather in my cap. And if it's something that you think is cool, consider supporting. So that's the spiel. Let me go ahead and get this out of the way so we can look at the camera. Hey, Hornetico, it's good to see you again, man. Thanks for being here. Let's see. Let's drop this off the menu. Here's our martial powers list. Let's pull this document out. And scrolling down, if this is our 68th episode, so getting close to doing some sexy work here. We're going to, if you are familiar with the stream already and you've shown up to any number of the past, you'll be aware of the half casting progression that we're using for the various classes that are involved. We're giving attention to barbarians, fighters, monks, paladins, rangers, and rogues, to give them a far broader set of resources in the form of a mana pool and options to expend that resource during the day of an adventure in the combat, exploration, and social pillars of adventure that are the 3 foundations of challenges inside of the 5e D&D game space. But this stuff applies to almost any role-playing games, depending on what you're leaning your focus into. So using D&D as our base, being that this is going to publish on the DMsGuild, we've been translating all of the template, all the subclasses that are official D&D content into the martial power system. A lot of them, we don't have to change the subclasses at all, but all of the classes get a, let me scroll down to it, meow, 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 meow. Fighter subclasses, G, writer. Okay, so you can see there's a power list where you gain your subclass at 3rd level. Then if you're using the half casting progression, 1st level, 5th level, 9th level, 13th level, 17th level. So those are the different ranks, the levels at which you gain new ranks of power. And every time you gain a new rank of power or the subclass itself at 3rd level, you're gaining 2 powers, which could be anywhere from a feat, a sustained power that you can concentrate on, a strike power, which are like paladin smites, reactions, which are kind of self-explanatory, maneuvers, which are action or bonus action things that you can do to affect yourself or others in combat with you, and then there's exploits, which modify die roll on an instant use. Like, I roll this die, I'm going to spend mana, I'm going to add this much to my die roll to get a result, that sort of stuff. So we're going to see, first off, the way that we do this is we first are going to break down, today we're working on the Soulknife. So we're going to break down the Soulknife into, to see if it works, if the mechanics inside the Soul Blade, the Soulknife works as is with what we already know is the martial power system. So we're going to cut paste this thing into here just for us to have a clean read on it. And as we get into the Soulknife here, let's scroll down. Phantom, the Scout, Soulknife. Here we are. Features of the Soulknife. Let's grab this. Grab this. Ugh. So we could have 3rd, and then what? 9th, 13th, I think, and then 17th. Is that the levels that we're gaining here? That's awful reflective of the level gains that you get with half casting. You know, 3 and then 5, 9, 13, 17. Those are literally the half casting progression levels that you're gaining power, that you gain new ranks of powers. I think it's curious that the rogue gains at those rates. Like if I were rebuilding, if I were to build 6E for D&D, I would probably actually go along the lines of like gain subclass levels at 1, 5, 9, 13, 17. Just build those into it because those are breaking points for half casting classes. So I think that's really interesting that those are set up that way. It's a martial class that it doesn't have a resource system, but it gains all of its features on resource gain levels. There's something about that. There's something about that I haven't quite observed before. That I think, well, in this circumstance, I think it leans into the system. But I think there's lessons here about the rogue worth extracting from that observation. But I'm just going to let that rattle around in my head for a little while to see what comes out. But so for now, what we're going to do is we have this tab here where we're building. We have the notepad here that we're looking at what's documented. We have this window here, which had the subclass itself, but we have the martial powers here. There's the base table, which we'll keep set there. And then this tab, we're going to scroll down into actual listed powers. So it's faster for us to flip between these things. When this publishes on the DMsGuild, it's going to have around it has about 140 listed mana draining powers, like things that cost mana to use. But there's also a slew of non-cost powers that you can gain that augment your character, that just costs, like so. Just to remind, you have known powers, like all these classes are curb into each other. So if you're going to multi-class across various classes, you'll gain known powers for each class. You'll gain mana for each class, but your ranks stack like a multi-class caster would stack. So like if I have 4 levels in Ranger and 6 levels in Paladin, as a Ranger, I'd be able to gain first rank powers only. As a 6th level Ranger, I'd be able to have access to 2nd and 1st rank powers. But as a 10th level multi-channeling, as a 10th level multi-class channeling character, I would be able to channel up to 3 mana into any of the Paladin or Ranger powers that I've acquired. And I'd be using a D8. The power die is kind of like a superiority die, or like an inspiration die, or what we'll probably see like a psionic die here when we start diving into the Soulknife. And this is the modifier that you use for additional damage or modifying die rolls and other things that are triggered by the power system that we use. So if you were like, say, a 4th or a Ranger, you'd have 5 powers. If you were a 6th level Paladin, you'd have 7 powers. So you'd have a total between the two, 12 powers, which is a lot more than each individually. You'd have a D10 off of the powers that you'd have here. A 10th level character would normally have 11. You would have 7 and 5. So you'd end up having 12 as a multi-class character. So you end up being a little bit ahead in the known powers, but neither one of them would be able to know 3rd rank powers. So if you want to divide up your classes amongst all of the different classes that this system treats, it's going to be very gentle and curbing that you're going to be able to accumulate your mana pool based on the type of caster or channeler that you are. The known powers is going to be slightly advantageous for you to multi-class The power die is not going to change. It's going to scale with your character level. Max rank is going to scale with your character level. So basically what you're going to do, if you decide to dive deep into multi-classing, is you're going to sacrifice the maximum rank power that you can know in exchange for knowing more powers. That's basically it. So it's a very, very gentle multi-classing system. But what makes it even more fun is that none of the powers exceed 4th rank. So your maximum scaling in knowing a power caps at 13th level. Once you hit 13th level, you've got 7 levels open for you to do whatever you want with if you want to multi-class out of where you're at right now. 13th and 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, once you hit 13th level, then at 14th level plus, that could be any combination of multi-classes that you want because you already have access to the maximum rank of power that's available. But again, you'll be able to scale up eventually to be able to channel 5 mana with any of these powers. It's just you have to spend at least a little bit more than half of your career learn off of one martial class to be able to gain full access to all the powers, which is incredibly, how would you say, generous, forgiving. Yeah, I like those words. So, and then we have multi-class, like you could go like sorcerer paladin to make a Soulknife, right? So if you wanted to go like 7 levels of sorcerer and 13 levels of paladin, you'd have your max rank of 4th rank powers that you would know, but then it would never get to 5th rank because sorcerers are full casters. They don't have access to power at all. So you'd actually cap your max here at 4, even though the sorcerer has considerably more mana than a caster does. Actually, do we have the sorcerer on queue here? Spell point sorcerer. There he is. Let's see if that pops up for us here in a second. You can take a look at that. But while we wait for that, that was our quick crash course in the system as a whole. Still waiting for that. Where you at, buddy? Making me look dumb. Come on, computer. I spent a lot of money on you to have a lot of horsepower. Thank you. Wow, it's large text. Spell point, sorcerer. If we scroll down here, right, here's our sorcerer progression table. This isn't published yet, but it's something we've been working on. A 7th level sorcerer would have 31 mana. And then if you stuck that, if you tag that onto a 13th level paladin, paladin is considered has hybrid points that are regained on a long rest. 13 paladin has 26. 7th level sorcerer has 31. So you would end up having a total of 57 mana for your 20th level character, and you'd be able to channel up to 4th rank powers, which cost 4 mana a pop. But then as a sorcerer, you'd also have access to 4th level spell slots, and you'd be able to channel up to 2 ranks of sorcery at the same time as well. And of course, you would know 12 sorcery spells or meta magics, any combination of the two. And then a 13th level paladin has 12 known powers. So you'd have 12 powers, 12 spells or any or meta magic as you please. You'd have 56 mana. You'd be able to cast 4th level spells and channel up to 4th rank powers. You'd be using a D8 power die whenever you're using martial powers. It's that easy. It's a very, very smooth system. And then you'd just be a Soulknife. So cheers to that. Worth considering, a 20th level paladin has 40 points, while this Soulknife mix would have 57. It's a decent blend. It doesn't make the mana go out of control, and you would certainly be able to spam out some cool smite powers, which we've converted into strikes. But it works. It's super smooth, and I'm thinking about doing some playtesting on this once Spelljammer is done, since I'll have one less project on my plate and it frees up my budget a little bit. Thinking about putting together a power campaign for people to run around and just fuck shit up. So we'll keep an eye out for that. But hey, let's stay on target. We'll tuck away the sorcerer for a while, and let's get into what we're here to do. So I'm going to set a 20-minute timer. It's 1:30 now. Let's see how much. Let's see how long this takes. If it takes 90 minutes, I think we're going to be doing great. So I'm going to budget myself 100 minutes and see if we can beat that time. So Soulknife, It's a psionic class. They have psionic dice. Let's see how psionic dice play with martial power system. Soulknife. Most assassins strike with physical weapons, and many burglars and spies use thieves' tools to infiltrate secure locations. In contrast, the Soulknife strikes and infiltrates with the mind, cutting through barriers both physical and psychic. These rogues discover psionic powers within themselves and channel it to do their roguish work. They find easy employment as members of thieves' guilds, though they are often mistrusted by rogues who are leery of anyone using strange mind powers to conduct their business. Most governments would also be happy to employ a Soulknife as a spy. I love these little intro blurbs. I'm not much of a flavor guy. Like, I'm a hard crunch kind of guy. So I like little flavor text blurts like this. They're fun. Amid the trees of ancient forests, the material plane, and the Feywild, some wood elves walk the paths of the Soulknife, serving as silent, lethal guardians of their woods in the endless war among the Gith. A Githzerai is encouraged. Separately among in the woods. Period. New paragraph. In the endless war among the Gith, a Githzerai is encouraged to become a Soulknife when stealth is required against the Githyanki foe. I love Gith. I love the Gith wars. I think they're super fun. As a Soulknife, so that's all flavor text, so we can just destroy that. Get out of here. Soulknife. As a Soulknife, your psionic powers might have haunted you since you were a child, only revealing their full potential as you experience the stress of adventure. Or you might have sought out a reclusive order of psychic adepts and spent years learning how to manifest your powers. Flavor text, goodbye. So, psionic power. Here's where rubber's going to meet the road. Let's see how this pans out. So, you harbor a wellspring of psionic energy within yourself. This energy is represented by your psionic energy die, which are each a d6. You have a number of these dice equal to twice your proficiency bonus, and they fuel various psionic powers you have, which are detailed below. Some of your powers expend the psionic energy die they use as specified in the powers descriptions, and you can't use a power if it requires you to use a die when your dice are all expended. You regain all your expended psionic dice when you finish a long rest. In addition, as a bonus action, you can regain one expended psionic energy die, but you can't do so again until you finish a short or long rest. When you reach certain levels in this class, the size of your psionic die increases. At 5th level, it becomes a d8. 11th level, it's a d10. 17th level, it's a d12. The powers below use the psionic energy dice. So we have Knack, Whispers, and then Psionic Blades. Okay. So let's see what... I'm just going to do a read-through real quick, and then we'll come back and we'll Nash on this. So let's see. Psi-bolstered Knack. When your non-psionic training fails you, your psionic power can help. If you fail an ability check using a skill or tool with which you have proficiency, you can roll one psionic energy die and add the number rolled to the check, potentially turning failure into success. You expend the die only if the roll succeeds. When your non-psionic training fails you, your psionic die can help. If you fail an ability check, use a skill or tool. Using a skill or tool with which you have proficiency. Oh, that's really fucking sweet. Okay. And then Psychic Whispers. You can establish telepathic communication between yourself and others, perfect for quiet infiltration. As an action, choose one or more creatures you can see, up to a number of creatures equal to your proficiency bonus, and then roll one psionic energy die. For a number of hours equal to the number rolled, the chosen creature can speak telepathically with you, and you can speak telepathically with them. To send or receive a message, no action required. You and the other creatures must be within 1 mile of each other. A creature can't use this telepathy if it can't speak any languages, and a creature can end the telepathic connection at any time, no action required. You and the creature don't need to speak a common language to understand each other. The first time you use this power after each long rest, you don't expend the psionic energy die. All other times you use the power, you expend the die. This power specifically. Okay. And then we also at 3rd level gain Psychic Blades, 3rd level, Soulknife feature. You can manifest your psionic power as shimmering blades of psychic energy. Whenever you take the attack action, you can manifest a psychic blade from your free hand and make the attack with that blade. You can manifest whenever you take the attack action. You can manifest a psychic blade from your free hand and make the attack with that blade. This magic blade is a simple melee weapon with the finesse and thrown properties. It has a normal range of 60 feet and no long range. And on a hit, it deals psychic damage equal to d6 plus the ability modifier you used for the attack roll. The blade vanishes immediately after it hits or misses its target, and it leaves no marks on its target if it deals damage. After your attack with the blade, you can make a melee. After your attack with the blade, you can make a melee or ranged weapon attack with a second psychic blade as a bonus action on the same turn, provided your other hand is free to create it. Interesting. The damage die of this bonus attack is d4 instead of d6. Okay, I'm seeing potential here. I'm seeing a lot of conversion potential here. I'm really excited. Soul Blades, 9th level Soulknife features. Your psychic blades are now an expression of your suffused soul, giving you these powers that use your psionic energy dice. So, homing strikes. If you make an attack roll with your psychic blade and miss the target, you can roll 1 psionic energy die and add the number rolled to the attack roll. If this causes the attack to hit, you expend the psionic energy die. Psionic teleportation. As a bonus action, you manifest one of your psychic blades, expend 1 psionic energy die, and roll it. As a bonus action, you manifest one of your psychic blades, expend a psionic die, and roll it. And throw the blade at an unoccupied space you can see up to a number of feet away equal to 10 times the number rolled. You then teleport to that space, and the blade vanishes. Okay. That's a bonus action. That's cool. You manifest one or more. Expend 1 psionic die. Psychic Veil, 13th level Soulknife feature. You can weave a veil of psychic static to mask. This is 13th level. You can weave a veil of psychic static to mask yourself. As an action, you can magically become invisible, along with anything you are wearing or carrying for 1 hour or until you dismiss this effect. This invisibility ends immediately after you deal damage to a creature or you force a creature to make a saving throw. Okay. Once you use this feature, you can't do so again until you finish a long rest, unless you expend a Scion's energy die to use this feature again. Okay. We're going to convert some of this stuff. Rend Mind, 17th level Soulknife feature. You can sweep your psychic blade directly through a creature's mind. When you use the psychic blades to deal sneak attack damage to a creature, you can force that target to make a wisdom saving throw. If the save fails, the target is stunned for 1 minute. The stunned target can repeat this saving throw at the end of each of its turns, ending the effect on itself on a success. Once you use this feature, you can't do so again until you finish a long rest, unless you spend 3 psionic energy dice to use it again. You can force, when you use your psychic blades, you can deal sneak attack damage. You can force that target to make a wisdom saving throw and be stunned. So this doesn't initially cost anything, but if you want to use it again, if you want it back each turn, once you use this feature, you can't do so again until you finish a long rest, but you can get it back on tap for 3 dice. I love this. I love this class. It's super cool. Let's modify it. So many of the rogue classes don't need modification. I can just post them as is, and they're good to go, and all we have to do is add a stack of powers. But this one, this one we get to convert, so I'm looking forward to that. Let's be fair. All right, let's make this a thing. So, let's see. Using our power progression system here.
How do they do? It starts at third. You get a D6 at 3. You get a D8 at 5. 11 is a D10. And 17 is a D12. This 11th level gain has no logic. No logic at all. So, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to curb that. So, first off, we're going to go with psionic power. Let's cook. How does the psionic powers work currently? Okay, so gains dice, and it is to use a die to dice equal to twice your proficiency bonus. So let's see. 3 equals 4. 5 equals 6. 11 equals 8. That's not right. 9 equals 8. 13 equals 10. And what happened? There we go. 17 equals 12. Is that how reality works? First is +2, +5, +9. 1, 4, 4, 4, 4. Good. Okay, great. So that is our level mana, right? That's basically how it's working. The powers will use the second dice. You regain all your expended dice when you finish a long rest. In addition, as a bonus action, you regain 1 expended psionic energy die, but you can't do so again until you finish a short or long rest. Blast. Okay. That is a decent portion. If we're using the system that we have set, the rogue uses the martial progression. So at 17th level, they'd have 17 mana as opposed to the 12 mana that they have here. 13th, they'd have 10. We'd give them 13 mana. At 9th level, they have 8. At 9th level, we give them 9. At 5th level, they have 6. At 5th level, they have 5. And at 3rd level, they'd have 4. We give them 3. So we can go ahead and replace the Soulknife psionic dice. Psionic power. Let's see. The wellspring of psionic energy is expressed as your mana pool. You gain. So this is letting you get less mana, but a higher psionic die. So we're going to fudge on that, and we're going to drop that down. So you gain your psionic die is equal to your power die listed above. Psionic knack and not psi bolstered knack. Psi bolstered. That's a great power unto itself. And Psychic Whispers. So we're going to give them more mana than what is being offered by Raw, so that's good. Your psionic die is equal to once per short rest, you can regain 1 mana. Or let's go with you can regain 1 mana during a short rest period. I mean, they already have the precision. They already have power over precision, which is sacrificing. Let's go back up there. At 3rd level, we already gain. Actually, if we're going to build this right, okay. So what I think is going to ultimately happen is we're going to get rid of the martial subclasses, and we're going to take the cream, the cream of the crop, the best features from these subclasses, and just integrate them into power, martial power options for each class, such as we'll see, like, we can get rid of Swift Pounce, we can keep reliable power, we can keep empowered sneak attack, and we can keep power over precision. So, and that would mean that we'd be able to take power and precision and drop that down to 1st. So it would be starting at 1st level. You can reduce your sneak attack dice and gain 1 point of temporary mana for each die sacrificed this way, up to your total sneak attack dice. When you finish a short or long rest, you can choose to regain the sacrificed sneak attack dice, losing all unspent temporary mana and dismissing any power sustained by temporary mana when you do. So you could, and since we'll be peeling this out of the Martial Trickster, we'll destroy the Martial Trickster and replace it. Let's go with Rogue, optional class features. I think this is the way. Starting at 1st level, you can reduce your sneak attack dice and gain 1 temporary point of temporary mana for each die sacrificed this way, up to your total sneak attack dice. When you finish a short or long rest, you can choose to regain the sacrificed sneak attack dice, losing all unspent temporary mana and dismissing any power sustained. So you're automatically going to be able to exchange, and again, I've spoken about this before, if you're doing social or exploration stuff, you're not anticipating a fight, you don't think that you're going to need your sneak attack before you have the opportunity to take a short rest, it's free mana. It's going to just let you do a shitload of stuff. So sustaining powers to climb things, teleport, fly, which cheats the exploration system, but it also allows you to boost or gain proficiencies or expertise in proficiencies so that you can do more, say, during social challenges or during investigations and searches, figuring out puzzles, deciphering stuff, super useful. But again, you're sacrificing your potential combat capabilities to gain that temporary power. So there's that. And then empowered sneak attack. I actually wanted to, let's go ahead and take a look at the rogue real quick here in general, because I have a suspicion that I want to drop this down to 6. 1, 3, 5. Yeah, I think I want to drop this down to 6. So let's see what's going on. At 6th level, you gain expertise, evasion, archetype feature, uncanny dodge. I think 6 is the perfect place for this. So we'll go. I want to test that. So starting at 6th level, when you deal sneak attack damage, you can reduce your sneak attack damage dice by 3. You have 3 sneak attack damage dice at 6th level. So if you get rid of all of your sneak attack dice, you get 1 temporary point of mana to spend on a strike power that you know. Let's see. That's at 6, and then at 13th, you can reduce your sneak attack damage by 6 dice. What is it? 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11. So at 11th level, you can reduce your sneak attack dice by 6, which is all your sneak attack dice, to get 2 mana. And then at 17th, yeah, this is perfect. And at 17th, you can reduce your sneak attack dice by 9, which is all of your sneak attack dice at 17th level, to gain 3 temporary points. When you're using temporary points, again, looking at our table, at 1st level, your temporary, your power die is D6. So you would, what is that? 6th level, you'd be able to sacrifice all of your sneak attack dice, your 3d6. Thank you, timer. You get rid of 3d6. You get a temporary point of mana, which would then be 1d6. That's a considerable drop in damage. But you also gain that mana in your pool can be added to temporary mana to channel these strike powers. So that would allow us to then dip down here into strikes. Since you gain 1 free point of mana, you could do something like a disarming strike, freezing strike, goading strike. Let's look at psionic strike, shocking strike. I like shocking strike a lot. Your weapon can deal lightning damage. You add 1 power die, and at 6th level it would be a d6. So you'd add d6 damage, and the creature can't take reactions. This should sound a lot like Cunning Strikes that was recently introduced in 1D&D. Granted, we've had this thing here for a year, so it's good to see that D&D, that WotC's listening to me. You guys can call me anytime you want. I'll walk over and have a conversation with you. But yeah, Empowered Sneak Attack, that's going to cut down on your damage a lot, but it's going to give you a lot of stuff. At 17th level, when you're going to cap out, you're going to be able to cool stuff. It goes up to 4th rank powers, but you're going to stop short at there. Hey, look at that. It's the Stunning Strike that costs 3 mana. Didn't we see that recently? What are we seeing down here? It's the Rend Mind. So 17th level, costs 3 mana for you to be able to use this. When you use your Psychic Blades to deal sneak attack damage, you can force make a saving throw. If the save fails, they're stunned. So how's our Stunning Strike work? It costs 3 mana every time you use it. Your damage increases by 1 power die per damage burn, which would be 3. And at 3rd level, that's 3rd rank, that's going to be, say 17th, that's going to be a d10. So instead of dealing 9d6 damage, you deal 3d10 damage. So it'd be a maximum of 30 damage as opposed to 36. So you're only losing a d6 in that instance. And the creature must make a Constitution saving throw or be stunned. The creature can attempt to end this effect at the end of each of its turns by succeeding a Constitution saving throw. There is no duration. It doesn't end at a certain time, period. It's strictly based off of can they succeed a saving throw or not. So that's cool. But it works, so I'm happy about that. Let's see, where are we at? Yeah, I like that. So we'll get rid of Swift Pounce, and we're going to get rid of... we can keep Reliable Power. I want to playtest this. I'll need to playtest this a bit. Oh, I already know that Powerful Precision and Empowered Sneak Attacks works. The 18th level rogue in my home table has been using these power systems for about 9 months now, and he fucking loves it. So that's great. Our ranger uses a lot of strikes as well with his archery. So it's fantastic for dealing damage and creating a lot of impromptu decisions to be able to affect the battle in exotic ways that should be available to martial types that generally isn't, that I'm really proud that the system can introduce. But dropping the level down like this, granted, you don't have to exchange sneak attack. You could just add this. Like a sixth level rogue has 3 sneak attack dice, so you could use your 3 sneak attack dice, and you can spend mana on top of it to deal extra damage as though you were a paladin rogue. Same thing. Paladin blows a smite spell to deal smite damage, and if it happens to be a sneak attack option, you stack your sneak attack dice on top of it. This does the same thing, but you have the option with empowered sneak attack to instead drop the hit dice, drop the sneak attack dice to do it for free, although limited. So it's very, very much in flavor of Cunning Strikes. I love how they set up Cunning Strikes. So I think if that actually sticks to 1E and this publishes before that, we're going to do an update using 6th edition and probably just make some modifications to the strike powers to coincide or to complement what it is that they finalize with the strike powers. So I think everything should curve out correctly. So far, everything has. So, okay, that's cool. We got those locked down. So going back to the Soulknife, you can regain 1 mana during a short rest. I like that. That's a perk that you get that other rogues don't, although you do have the power of precision, where you could always gain more mana at the sacrifice of your sneak attack. This allows you to dig into your own well and pull that stuff out. So let's look at the side bolster. When you're you can roll one psionic die. Oh, that's fucking sweet. I don't need to change this specifically, but let's go with when your non-psionic training fails you, your psionic power can help. If you fail an ability check using a skill or tool with which you have proficiency, you can roll one power die. And add the number rolled to the check, potentially turning failure into a success. You expend the die only if the roll succeeds. God, that is fucking intense. Do we want to keep that? Because we're giving you they do that because you don't get a lot of mana. We're giving you a lot more mana over time than what the Soulknife would normally get. But all in all, every rogue would have access to these powers. So I think that's fair. I'm actually super cool with that. Yeah, let's leave that be. We are going to change Psychic Whispers, though. So let's go ahead and... I already know we're going to change that. You can establish telepathic communication between yourself and others, perfect for quiet infiltration. As an action, choose one or more creatures you can see up to the number of creatures equal to... Hey, thanks everybody. It's 2 o'clock. It's time to rock. As an action, choose one or more creatures you can see up to a number of creatures equal to your proficiency bonus. Don't need to change that. You then roll one psionic energy die for a number of hours equal to the number rolled. The chosen creature can speak telepathically with you, and you can speak telepathically with them. To send or receive a message, no action required. You and the other creature must be within 1 mile of each other. A creature can't use this telepathy if it can't speak a language, bloody blah. First time you use this power after each long rest. You don't expend the psionic energy die. All other times, I'm going to get rid of that for balance here, and you'll see why. You can establish telepathic communication between yourself and others, perfect for quiet infiltration. As an action, choose one or more creatures you can see up to a number of creatures. This is 3rd level, so up to 2 creatures. Up to a number of creatures equal to your proficiency bonus. Period. You can sustain trigger word. You can sustain telepathic communication between yourself and others. Perfect for quiet infiltration. As an action, as a maneuver allows you to activate as an action or a bonus action. So advantage. As a maneuver, choose one or more creatures you can see up to the number of creatures equal to your proficiency bonus. Actually, you can sustain as an action or bonus action, because that's how sustained powers work. They can be used either an action or a bonus action. That's also how maneuvers work, action or bonus action, but it's a sustained effect. So saying as a maneuver is wrong. So as an action or bonus action, choose one or more creatures you can see, up to a number of creatures equal to your proficiency bonus, period. While sustained. The chosen creatures can speak telepathically with you, and you can speak telepathically with them. To send or receive a message, no action required. You and the other creatures must be within 1 mile of each other. A creature can't use this telepathy if it can't speak any languages, And a creature can end the telepathic connection at any time, no action required. You and the other creatures don't need to speak a common language to understand each other, period. As an action or bonus action, tap 1 mana, comma, tap 1 mana, and choose 1 or more creatures you can see. So you can tap a mana to sustain it, or you can lock that mana to make it permanent without having to worry about expending concentration. This allows it to be sustained all day, the entire day, without having to worry about it being accidentally dropped by losing concentration. It can be dispelled, and when you begin a long rest, it automatically drops. Let's see. You don't need to speak a common language, understand each other. There. I'm good with that as is. Psychic Blades. How are we looking here, buddy? Oh, this is also third. Jeebos. How does this work? Psychic Blades. You can manifest your psionic power as shimmering blades of psychic energy. Whenever you take the attack action, you can manifest a psychic blade from your free hand and make the attack with that blade. This magic blade is a simple melee weapon with finesse and thrown properties. It has a normal range of 60 feet and no long range. And on a hit, it deals psychic damage equal to D6 plus the above ability modifiers you use for the attack roll. The blade vanishes immediately after it hits or misses its target, and it leaves no mark on its target if it deals damage. We can do better for that. After an attack with the blade, you can make a melee or ranged weapon attack with a second psychic blade as a bonus action on the same turn, provided your other hand is free to create it. Fucking cool. Whoa. Let's not bold that, shall we? You can manifest a psychic blade as shimmering energy, as psychic energy. Whenever you take the attack action, you can manifest a psychic blade from your free hand and make the attack with that blade. This magic blade is a simple melee weapon with the finesse and thrown properties. It has a normal range of 60 feet and no long range. On a hit, it deals psychic damage equal to your power die plus the ability modifier you used for the attack roll. You can channel strike powers with this weapon as well, period. The blade vanishes immediately after it hits or misses the target, and it leaves no mark on the target if it deals damage. After you attack with the blade, you can make a melee or ranged weapon attack with a second psychic blade as a bonus action on the same turn, provided your other hand is free to create it. The damage die of the bonus attack uses 1 die smaller than your current power die. Third level, 9th level, third level is when you gain it. 3, 9, 17. Hey, Shiner, good to see you, my guy. Level. Get out of here, scallywag. Kibos. There, that's how that shakes out. So the bonus, the offhand second attack is going to use a smaller power die than the Psychic Blade's primary weapon. It's going to automatically be the same D6 that you're used to having off the Psychic Blades feature, and the bonus action is going to stay the same at 3rd level, but by the time you hit 9th level, we know that the power die upgrades to a D8, so your Psychic Blade also upgrades to a D8. So you're doing D8, D6 with your offhand attack, and then 17th upgrades to a D10, D8. That is a sizable upgrade, and of course you can also use a psionic. You can use any strike power that you know, in addition to the sneak attack damage, and of course it all does psychic damage if it hits. So and naturally leaves no mark. So after you bonus, you then tell them where'd you go? Yeah. Okay, I'm really happy with that. That's just fucking cool. IMO. We're going to no bold. There we go. We're going to bold. Italics. Italics. These things are cool, man. Get out. What the? No. Get out of here. Scallywag. Looks like you used underline on accident. And I actually wanted. There. All right, let's dip into 9. Let's see what we see on 9 for the Soul Blade. Soul Knife. Sorry. Soul Knife. Soul Blades. Okay, so your Psychic Blade are now an expression of your psi-suffused soul, giving you these powers that you use your psionic energy dice, homing strike and psychic teleportation. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. So let's grab these. Now, expression of your psi-suffused soul. Soul Blades. How you doing, Shiner? Soul Blades. Your Psychic Blades are now an expression of your psi-suffused soul, giving you these powers that use your psionic energy dice. Honing strikes. Boop. And psychic teleportation. Boop. Homing strikes. If you make an attack roll with your Psychic Blade and miss the target, you can roll 1 power die. Add the number rolled to the attack roll. If this causes the attack to hit, you expend the psionic energy die. That's too generous. Potentially changing a miss into a hit, period. Doing well, cool. Soulknife is, well, I mean, Soulknife is fucking cool in general. I mean, obviously, if you aren't familiar with it already from, I think it's in Tasha's, or is it Tasha's? I don't remember where it's coming from. I mean, obviously it already exists. So, but that's the spiel. We convert things so that they work with the power system. So, can't take credit for the core stuff. I mean, I think the Soulknife unto itself is a really cool base class. It's just cool. But we're just making it like really fucking cool to use. So, Psychic Blades are now. I'm taking away the free usage thing. That makes me reevaluate up here. Yeah, we're going to get rid of that freebie. I don't want you getting freebies because you're already getting a lot more mana than you would otherwise, and you're getting a shitload of additional free powers. So I'm good with that. Let's see. Psychic Blades. If you make an attack roll with your Psychic Blade and you miss the target, you can roll 1 power die and add the number rolled to the attack roll, potentially changing a miss into a hit. That already exists as an exploit, as a reaction, actually. That's a reaction somewhere inside here. But this doesn't even require a reaction. This is just, I missed, I'm going to just throw a power die at it, and I can potentially now hit instead. That's actually really, really good. So they don't need to get a freebie out of that. They get freebies because they get so little mana by the base class. Like, this is 9th level. They would only have they'd have 8 mana per day as listed here. And that's just, it's not enough. You need more. So, I mean, granted, you only get 9 with ours, but you could also, you got the power over precision. You can cash in your sneak attack dice anytime you want. So you actually have as much mana as you have sneak attack dice per short rest, in addition to your level in Rogue. So, Bob's your uncle. So, Homing Strike feels good now. Let's go to Psychic Teleportation. As a bonus action, we'll leave it like that. As a bonus action, you manifest one of your Psychic Blades, expend 1 power die, and roll it, and throw the blade at an unoccupied space you can see up to a number of feet away equal to 10 times the number rolled. Nope, we're going to get rid of that. You then teleport to that space, and the blade vanishes. Let's see. If you make an attack roll with your Psychic Blade and miss the target, spend 1 mana. As an exploit, you can spend one. You can, let's do this. You can spend mana up to your max channel limit to roll an equal number of power dice and add the highest number rolled to the attack roll, potentially changing a miss into a hit. This is at 9th level, so you're rolling a D8 at this point. So, and your max channel limit is 3. So using this power, you could spend up to 3 mana to roll 3 8-sided dice and take the best result of those dice to add it to your attack roll. It's often that you don't need to spend more than 2 dice to get at least a 4 or more on that 8, just by the law of numbers. But if you really want to hit a target, or like you need to get like 6 or more, throwing 2 dice is a good solution, because out of the 3 dice, it's likely that you're going to get a 6. So it's like more than a 50% chance. So if you make an attack roll with the Psychic Blades and miss the target, okay, I'm good with that. Psychic Teleportation. As a bonus action, you manifest one of your Psychic Blades. Expend. As a bonus action, you manifest one of your Psychic Blades. Expend 1 mana. And throw the blade at an unoccupied space you can see up to the maximum range. Up to 60 feet. The range of throwing these things is 60 feet, so up to 60 feet away. Up to 60 feet away. Period. You can then teleport to that space and the blade vanishes. I love that. I am super happy with that. I'm actually really super happy with that. That's a freaking great power. What are we looking at next? Let's embolden that. And once this is done, we're still going to give them 10 free powers that they just gain by gaining levels. So they're getting a fuck ton of utility. This is great. Let's see. Let's see. Where are we at? Here we are. that. Psychic Veil. You can weave a veil of psychic energy to mask yourself. As an action, you can magically become invisible. I'm going to copy that. Drop down here. Psychic Veil. You can weave a veil of psychic static to mask yourself. As an action, as a maneuver, which means you can do it as an action or a bonus action. As a maneuver, you can magically become invisible along with anything you are wearing or carrying. Nope. As a sustained power, you can magically become invisible. You can use an action or bonus action to magically become. You can tap 2 mana. You can use an action or bonus action to tap 2 mana and magically become. You can tap 2 mana to magically become invisible, along with anything you're wearing and carrying, while the psychic veil is sustained. Of course, you can lock that. But sustained in the rules below about sustained mechanics. Sustained means either maintaining concentration or locking, so you don't have to maintain concentration, which I have talked about quite a bit. Whoa! What happened there? Let's look at this again. As an action, okay, cool. As a sustained power, you can use an action or bonus action to tap 2 mana to magically become invisible, along with anything you are wearing or carrying, while the psychic veil is sustained. That's a clumsy sentence, but we'll that's why we hire an editor. Why does that say no? No. Sustained already subsumes dismissal mechanics, which are listed with the sustained rules. This invisibility ends early, immediately after you deal damage to a creature, or you force a creature to make a saving throw. Okay. Once you use this feature, you can't do so again until you finish a long rest, unless you spend psionic energy, and you don't need that because it's going to cost you 2 mana, unless you spend a psionic. There you go. Only because invisibility in general is a 2 mana is a second level spell in D&D, and invisibility using our mana system, the amount of mana you spend equals the level of the spell. So second level spell, 2 mana. 9th level spell, 9 mana, and you curve out from basically 2 to 80 mana as you gain levels. As a full caster, a sorcerer gains more because the sorcery points are folded into the mana pool. But anyway, 17th level. Here we are. Rend Mind. Okay, Rend Mind boils down to you gain the wait for it. Let's go to strikes. You gain the stun strike power. You gain the stun strike power you gain a Sunstrike power, and instead of requiring a Constitution saving, a con save, you can instead require a Wisdom save. There you go. Easy peasy. So those are the features. Super happy with that. Now we get to build our kit. So this is the part where we get to take the 3, 5, 9, 13, 17 level progression here and start kitting out its powers. So we know at 3rd level we like to use feats and first rank sustained powers because you're already going to have enough mana for you to be able to sustain a first rank power for 1 mana, and you can lock it to be permanent if you want. If you want to cut yourself off from having any other mana. Otherwise, feats are free. So let's see. Let's take a look. Martial powers. What is some cool stuff that we can do with martial powers? First rank. Let's go down to feats because there's some low-hanging fruit down here, such as telepathy and telekinesis. How about that? That's ridiculously low-hanging fruit. That was easy. So 5th level, that gives us second rank powers. So let's take a look. We automatically get the psychic damage with the Psyblade. Feats as powers. One of the other things you can use powers for is the damage types, and advanced comes in at 5th level. And even though the psionic blade automatically deals psychic damage, if you instead wanted to use, like, say, a magic sword that gave you bonuses, that means that you're not using your psychic blade. Like what if you get I don't know, like a short sword of orc slaying, for instance. Well, if you want to use that, then you aren't going to deal psychic damage. But by empowering your weapon with psychic damage, then you are going to be able to deal psychic damage with sting instead of slashing damage. So it doesn't matter what weapon you use at that point; it can always be dealing psychic damage, which is an upgrade from only being able to use psionic weapons. However, the psionic weapon is better in that it doesn't leave any marks. So that's cool. Am I still? Yeah, my volume's still on. Good. And now at 5th level, you'd have 5 mana, so we want to stay inside of sustained powers because they make it. I'm on the wrong tab. Let me go back down here. Because sustained powers are inexpensive, are relatively cheap. You only have 2 ranks of power at 5th level. So if you lock a 2nd rank sustained power, you cut off access to any other mana while that's sustained. You can always just concentrate on it and potentially lose it and be open to be able to do anything else that would be up to 2 mana, but locking it cuts down your available power. So we want to look at some of the cool stuff that we can do. See if anything jumps out at us. We don't need Omnilinguist because we have telepathy already. Inspired skill. When sustaining this power, you gain proficiency in a skill or tool of your choice. I mean, that's always a really good power for a rogue. And it's sustained, so basically, it's only 1st rank too. So while you're sustaining this effect, you can gain proficiency in skills or tools of your choice, and you can channel multiple instances of it, stacking up the amount of mana that you have to know multiple skills, which is incredibly useful. Let's see, what's Trap Springer, Swift Assessment, Rogue Stance. You automatically get Rogue Stance because you're a rogue. That's why it's called Rogue Stance. Ranged Assault. When sustaining this, you can. And we don't need Ranged Assault because we already have a Psychic Blade that can use thrown weapons, and it automatically creates temporary damage. I don't know. Power Armor might not be bad. AC is 11 plus Dex plus proficiency bonus. So at 17th level, you'd have a 17 plus your Dex mod, which would be a +5, so that could take you to a dexterity. That could take you to an armor class of 22. That's pretty good. Power armor might actually be worth it. Holy crap. I have yet to use power armor as a default ability, but I think in this instance, I think it's a good one to use. Yeah, I'm hip with that. 9th level, 3rd rank powers. What do we want? Let's always look at sustained powers first and then curve out from there. Astute. Well, sustained side gain advantage on intelligence wisdom checks. That's always useful. You'll probably end up picking that up yourself. It doesn't feel iconic though for the soul blade. Auto attunement. While sustaining this power, you are attuned to any magic item you're wearing or holding that you meet the prerequisites for. I love that. That's a very thief-like thing, but I don't think it says that's not very Soulknife specifically. Cloud Strider. You can fly. Deadly Presence. When sustaining this power, you're not restrained, stunned, paralyzed, or incapacitated. Any creature you can see that begins its turn or moves within reach of you, melee attack, takes 1 power die of damage. Ooh, Mind Sense. When sustaining this power, you can sense the location of and communicate telepathically with any creature with intelligence above 3 within 60 feet, even if you can't see them. In addition, you can determine if the creature is friendly, neutral, or hostile disposition towards you and your allies, even if the creature is attempting to conceal this information. Mind Sense is awesome for a Soulknife, I believe. Mind Sense. Sus 2. Sus as in sustained, not as in suspicious. Is that 2nd rank? Yeah, that's 2nd rank. Holy shit, that's a good one. Opportunist. That's high combat. I think not. Quick. Advantage on charisma dex checks is useful, but it's such low-hanging fruit, you'll probably end up wanting to take it yourself. It doesn't just feel intrinsic to the psionic Soulknife. Strange metabolism is a no. Sturdy, like a lobster. Not so much. Unnatural resistance, not so much. Weapon resistance, not so much. At 9th, what are we at? 9th level? Yeah. This would be the time that we might want to think about taking a strike. Flurry attack is such a great power. Giant growth is off. Ghost walk. Ooh. While sustaining this power as a bonus action, you can become incorporeal. That's definitely a phantom power. It doesn't quite feel on flavor for a Soulknife. So I'm going to skip that. Let's go drop down from sustained powers. Let's get into our strikes. And at 9th level, well, we automatically gain Stunning Strike at 17th level. So I shan't be taking Stunning Strike, even though we qualify for it at 13th level. 9th level even. We could get it. Ooh, Delusional Strike. Your weapon can deal psychic damage and add 1 power die per mana burned, and the creature is confused. Compare the result of the highest power die result to the table below. 1 to 2, the creature acts normally. 3 to 4, creature uses all of its movement to move in a random direction. Roll a d8 for your compass. 5 to 6, melee action against melee attack against a random creature within reach. Otherwise, does nothing. And at 7, if you roll a 7 or more on the die roll, and at 3rd rank at 9th level, you're rolling a d8, but at 17th level, you'll be rolling a d10. So if you roll a 7 plus on your power die, and it's a 3 mana, it costs 3 mana, right? So that means you're going to throw 3 dice. And if you're rolling a d8, you're probably going to get a 5 or a 6. If you're rolling a d10, you're probably going to get a 7. You could spend up to 5 dice. At 17th level, you could spend up to 5 dice to deal 5d10 damage. And whichever d10 die result is highest, again, that's what you apply to your delusion table. So most likely, if you're throwing 5d10, you're probably going to roll a 7 plus, which is great news. The creature doesn't move or take actions this turn. The creature can attempt to end this effect at the end of each of its turns by succeeding a wisdom saving throw. It just lasts. It lasts for however long it takes him to succeed a wisdom saving throw, which could be quite a while. I should also caveat that you can drop this effect at any time. That's actually something I hadn't really considered. but I think is worth noting. I hear you. Strikes and maneuvers that affect target creatures can be dismissed during your turn without requiring an action or as a reaction. Another creature's turn, period. We don't need this anymore. I love cooking things for this slow, long period of time so that we can find all the little gaps where we can fill in just little pieces of information to make the system just that much more thorough. If you check my Patreon link and you go to the About tab, you can click on the Martial Power System. This is a read-only document that anyone can take a look at right now. You're welcome to play with this as much as you want. You can build any kind of character you want from level 1 to 20 using this. If you want to do that, certainly be welcome. I'm seriously considering firing up a playtest campaign to use for everyone that plays to use a power character of some sort, just to see how it plays out and how much fun it could be. Stay tuned for that. It won't be until the Spelljammer book publishes, but it's something I'm thinking about. So let's see. But Delusional Strike is a really good one. We'll go with that. Dekyostnu. I like that. So, oh boy, we're already up to level 13, 4th rank power. So, banishing and paralyzing, neither one of those feels specifically psionic. Restraining, provoking, life stealing. That life stealing actually feels very phantom. Intimidating strike, blinding, axiom, nah. I mean, we already have psionic strike as a damage type, so we don't have to worry about that. Let's go play with some maneuvers and exploits. Let's see what we see down here. 13th level. Yeah, we have access to 4th rank power. So these are reactions that we're looking at right now. So let's go from the high end to lower, see if there's anything super cool here. As a reaction to when a creature you can see targets you with a spell or magical effect, the creature must succeed a charisma saving throw at disadvantage, or the spell or magical effect doesn't affect you and is wasted. And that doesn't feel particularly psionic. That feels like a great power to give to the Chaos Barbarian, the Wild Magic Barbarian. I think that'd be a great power to add to him, but we're not there yet. Rite of Revival, also a great barbarian power, but as a reaction that doesn't quite fit in with where I see the Psychic Blade. Soulknife. Defense Barrier. Nah, not really. Countering Attack. Anchor, as a reaction to a creature attempting to move, teleport, or shift planes, it takes 1 power die of damage per mana burned and must succeed a charisma saving throw against. Burn means spend. Okay, so you can spend dice by tapping them to sustain an effect, or by immediately spending them for an instant effect, which we generally refer to as to burning. When you dismiss a power, the mana sustained burns. So spending mana or expending mana means you take it out of your mana pool and use it. Burning means it's gone. Tapping means it's being held as it's being sustained with your power. So you can't just say you burn the mana, or you can't just say I expend the mana or spend the mana and do this thing, because it means more than one thing when you're taking concentration into account. Subtlety, but again, it's a very subtle point, but it's different. It's a different way of interacting with your resources depending on what your character is attempting to do, sustaining or concentrating on things versus using an instantaneous effect. So small point, but important. No, Anchor doesn't. No, Anchor doesn't. No, that's not Psychic Blade. It's cool, but it's not Psychic Blade. Soulknife. Sorry. Curse of the Fallen Puppet is very Phantom. I have to rebuild the Phantom. We'll do that next week. Moving Target, not so much. One's Luck, nah. Stolen Fate, no. Punish, no. Opt. Opt is like a really bad form of Psychic Knack, which we gained at 3rd level. So, Lightning Reflexes, Interpose, Iron Will, Great Fortitude, Feint, Evasive Footwork. As a reaction to when you are hit by an attack roll from a source you can see, you gain a +5 bonus to armor class that remains in effect until the beginning of your next turn, including against the triggering attack, potentially turning the hit into a miss. And it's basically shield without the magic missile kicker, and it costs 1 mana to do it. I've been using mana for about 4 years now in my own home table, and it is, if you have a table that has someone that takes shield and they use shield a lot, basically you just have to calibrate your campaign to increase the attack roll of everybody by +3, basically, and give people that don't have shield like a +1 bonus of something. Like a magic shield or something like that. It nerfs the benefit, but if you have, say, a pool of 80 mana and you're going to blow all of it on shield, then you're gaining a ridiculous advantage. So nerfing that a little bit in your party for a full caster, I recommend increasing, like I just said, increasing everybody else's armor class by 1. And giving creatures generally a +3 bonus to hit, just as a blanket add-on. That's generally how you deal with somebody that is capable of spamming the shield spell infinitely. So that also includes in the player's handbook the wizard that takes practice caster or whatever that 18th level ability is, where they gain a 1st level spell and they can cast it for free forever. Like you take shield and you take silvery barbs if a DM allows you to have silvery barbs at all. Like those are your 2 defaults. So, but they become infinitely spammable. And I deal with 18th level wizards fairly regularly because I run through a 1 to 20 campaign roughly every 300 hours. So I'm on my 4th campaign right now. And we're at 18th level right now. And I'm going to change it up to doing an E6 campaign, which I can talk about at another time. But if you guys remind me during one of my art streams, either in the morning or Thursday night, I'll talk about E6 games for a while. You just got to remind me. Yeah, so I don't think Evasive Footwork is really a Soulknife thing in particular. Curse of Exposure as a reaction to a creature taking damage. I think we're gonna end up diving into a lot of exploits. So let's check out the maneuvers, see if there's anything cool here that we want to pick up. That's a grappling thing. Paralyze. Nah. Wave of Terror. Flicker Pounce is pretty cool. We already have a teleport feature. So I mean, it's not insane to think that we would do that. Flicker, so you can teleport up to 30 feet to a space within 5 feet of a creature you can see and make a weapon attack against it. If the attack succeeds, you can choose to teleport back to your original position. If the attack fails, you don't teleport the second time. Yeah, let's take Flicker Pounce. That's fun. We already have a teleportation effect, so that is a maneuver. So Flicker Pounce, man 3. So again, maneuvers, you can either use an action or a bonus action to do this. So you could potentially use your Psychic Blade to make an attack, and then as your bonus action, you could then use Flicker Pounce to teleport to your target, get the attack in, making a weapon attack against it. If the attack succeeds, great, then you can teleport back to your original position. Teleportation does not trigger opportunity attacks, so that's a really great thing to use. Love me some Flicker Pounce. And what else? What else we got? Lift. Lift and shunt. Lift. Choose a creature up to large size within 30 feet. If it fails a wisdom saving throw, it lifts 5 feet off the ground and remains suspended, reducing its speed to 0 unless it can reach a surface to crawl along with hands, costing an extra 4 feet for every 1 feet moved for the duration of the effect. The creature can save at the end of each of its turns to end the effect early. If you can spend +2 mana to target a huge size creature. So that would be up to 4 mana you could spend to lift a huge size creature off the ground 5 feet. I kind of like that. Shunt. Creatures that are size large or smaller that you choose within 10 feet of you. Holy crap. All creatures that are size large or smaller that you choose within 10 feet of you make a strength save or are pushed 10 feet per mana burned in a direction of your choice. God, that's fucking sick. All right. Lift. Oft. Lift. Maneuver 2. Both of those feel, because of the teleportation effects and the telekinesis that we automatically give you at first level, lift feels right, and man, I kind of like shunt. I kind of like shunt a lot. Let's see if we take that. Man 2. We'll pencil that in for now. Fuck, that's a cool power. I haven't looked at shunt in a while. That's sick. We already get vanish, so that's inferior. Phase. You become incorporeal. That's a great phantom power. I'm just going to leave phase. I become incorporeal. There you go. The Theurgy. This is a great one. Target creature you can see within 30 feet makes a charisma saving throw. If they fail, they can't move or take bonus actions until they succeed at the end of its turn. Cursed Brand. You curse a creature you can see to make saving throws against your powers with disadvantage. Ah, that's such a great thing. We'll take that. Cursed Brand is so cool. I stole that. That's one of the blood hunter conversions. So again, Cursed Brand. You curse a creature you can see to make saving throws against your powers with disadvantage. This effect ends when the creature succeeds a save against any of your powers. So as long as they keep failing, they remain cursed. If they can succeed, they break the curse. Pretty cool. I love that one. And yeah, Scout literally had no changes. Lols. What? There. Baka baka. Is that everything? God, you don't have any exploits? I mean, you can pick up as many exploits yourself as you want. I mean, you get 16 powers. All this shit on top of the 16 powers that you can just choose to have. This guy is decked, man. Soulknife is fucking sick. I think Soulknife so far is the coolest rogue we've had. this guy's just sick. Man, I love this. I would happily play this. Oh, God, it's so cool. All right, I has a proud. And that finishes the Soulknife for the day. So when we come back, what do we have left? We have the Swashbuckler, and we had built the Phantom under a different philosophy. We had recreated all of the effects of the Phantom Blade, of the Phantom class. So I'm not sure if that's going to stick or not. The Mastermind was easy enough to build. So let's go take a quick visit here. Arcane Trickster is its own thing. It remains unchanged, but instead of learning spells, an Arcane Trickster can learn powers. So it's the same. You gain all the same class features of the Arcane Trickster, except blah. There you go. And then the Assassin, we have you. Inquisitive, we have you. Mastermind, we have you. Phantom. We have to redo the Phantom. Scout, we already did. Just finished the Soulknife. We still have Swashbuckler. I think we still have Swashbuckler, right? Yeah, Swashbuckler, and we already did the Thief. So I think when we come back next week, we're going to revisit the Phantom Blade and fold it into the same formatting that we've used for everything else so far. So, but that's it for today. Holy crap! What a freaking cool build! That is a cool build. I am ridiculously pleased with that. But that's it for today. We're going to be back. Let's see. We'll be back tomorrow morning in about, 12? Like in 17 hours? 16 and a half hours-ish. We'll be back to do some more artwork for our Spelljammer Combat and Exploration. We're working on a Goblin Arrow Blade flying with a Lamprey. And then tomorrow night, we'll be back in Eberron doing more. We'll be colorizing the village map that we've been working on, the interiors of the storage and grain silo, as well as putting roofs on things. And then Friday, we'll be back again using continuing artwork for Spelljammer. We should be working on the Rhino boarding the galleon ship, and then Saturday morning, we may be able to finish the Reclamant book cover. We're in the foreground already for the Reclamant, so we're getting really, really close to being done with that piece. Whew, man, I'm excited about that. So we'll see if we can get that done. So if any of this stuff is interesting to you, if you're a lurker, welcome. You're most welcome to key in with me. If you want to ask me on Twitter about anything, if you know where I hang out on Discord, be welcome to reach out. I don't have my own channel yet, but I'm seriously considering that. My muse is starting to whisper to me about changes in how I do, what I do with my stream in the future, and I think once the Eberron adventure is done, and we got Martial Powers, we have this actual book layout production. I think we may be doing a lot more maps in the future. I'm not. My muse is whispering to me that I could potentially build a Patreon out of just building maps each month, so I may end up doing that. Yeah, I want to be able to be a sole provider for my family, and I think I can potentially do that with maps. So we'll see. That's what she's whispering to me, and we'll see if it's true. But that's some of the stuff that's on my plate. But great. Hey, if you dig this stuff, like, subscribe. We have 179 followers right now, and I'd love to see an art channel grow out of this. Maybe this stuff will be interesting over time. We can continue to grow numbers. But thanks a lot for anyone that's listening in. I will see you guys tomorrow morning. Laters.